Hey everyone, Tony Walsh here. Welcome back to the channel, and I think I'm going to call this Irrigation Woes. Some of you that are faithful followers, you'll remember a few videos. Well, I've been fussing about my irrigation to the garden back here behind us now for a few weeks about all the leaks I was having and stuff like that. And then probably a couple videos ago in one of my gardening videos that I said I was fixing to get on a rant, and I decided not to in that video. So I don't want to get on a rant in this video, but I do want to take a moment to just tell you what I have learned as far as drip irrigation. So hopefully that it'll help you, whether you are experiencing the same problems I have or if you're interested in drip irrigation. Now, I am not a professional by no means. I am learning this as I go, learning this by the seat of my pants. But just want to share with you the woes that I'm having. So I guess let's just get started. So drip irrigation is an investment, just like your seeds, just like your containers, just like fertilizer. Whatever you use, it's all an investment, and drip irrigation is no different. You know, you've got to have we use 1/2-inch tubing for the main lines, and then 1/4-inch tubing for, you know, the actual plants themselves, and that's where I'm running into a snag. So for those of you that don't know or don't remember, we are in extreme South Georgia. We're 60 miles above the Florida line, so that's how far south we are. And it gets hot, it gets humid here, and I think some of my problem is because we're using the black weed fabric. Then we have black tubing, and the sun is just brutal on the black. Now my goal is, once we get done with everything, that we can either cover it with pine straw or mulch or something to try to reflect some of this heat and not absorb so much on the tubing. But you can see here, and I have used 2 different kinds of black tubing. Some of it has a blue stripe, some of it doesn't. So it's mismatched or mixed, whatever you want to call it. But because of the heat, this tubing loosens up after a few days. So you can see I've had to start using hose clamps on a lot of T's and elbows. So again, just another investment. But once I put the hose clamps on, I no longer have a leak there. You can see I have one right there that's not pushed up tight, but it's not leaking. Another thing you'll see is I've got cutoff valves that are green. Then I've got some cutoff valves that are blue, and I'll show them to you later. And that's part of my problem that I have slowly learned, is the mismatching of products. You can't make an assumption that a 1/4 inch from one vendor is a 1/4 inch from another vendor. That they're not. You can't assume that 1/4 inch tubing from one vendor is the same as 1/4 inch tubing from another vendor. So let's go to the table and let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I have the table set up here with a few of the products that we're using, and I showed you the 1/2-inch tube that we're using. I got blue stripe and non-blue stripe. Haven't had any problems with those being mismatched except for just the heat. Both of them pop off, so both of those kinds have hose clamps on them. So I want to start here with this tubing. This tubing here, and I do not know the name of it because I don't have a package of it anymore, but it's 1/4 inch tubing, but it is a softer, more pliable, honestly easier to work with tubing than this Orbit. I do not know where we got this, do not remember, because I've had it for years, or a year or so. This Orbit is brand new, and it come from Lowe's, so this is no reflection on Lowe's. But this tubing and this tubing, even though they both say 1/4 inch, are not the same tubing. There is a little bit of difference in the diameter. And how does that affect us? Well, it affects how well this emitter sticks or stays into the tubing and not causing leaks. We have found Even though the Orbit is harder to work with, I like the Orbit better than whatever this is. Another reason for that is you see both of these right here, these connectors. This one here is an off-brand. I do not, again, it's like this. This works well with this tubing, but the Orbit, but this doesn't work well with the Orbit tubing. This will work in either tubing, but what I like is when we poke the hole in the 1/2-inch tubing, the Orbit does not leak like this one here does. So I really prefer the Orbit. And again, the Orbit's from Lowe's. This, I don't remember where I got it from, but again, wherever, we just like the Orbit better. So I don't know if it's a difference in the barbs, if I can get close enough to where you can see, if it's a difference in the barbs or not. Of course, the Orbit is a longer shank than this here, so that may have something to do with it. When you have wet hands, see how much you can grip here on the Orbit versus that right there. So again, and I'm not being paid by Orbit, not being sponsored by Orbit, have no idea who the Orbit company is, but I'm just preferring the Orbit. So let's move to elbows. Remember I said I'm having to put hose clamps on all of it. Well, I'm having a hard time with Lowe's keeping these in stock, and these are a blue twister model, and they just won't keep enough of these in stock. So went like everybody else, went online to buy what I was assuming 1/4-inch elbows, because that's what the pack says. And there is a definite difference between this 1/4-inch and this 1/4-inch. Definite difference. I have to tighten the hose clamp a whole lot tighter on the black one than I do on the blue one. The black won't hold at all without a hose clamp. Everywhere I started to use the black, no doubt I had to use a hose clamp. So I just packaged them back up, and I'll save them for emergency purposes. So again, I'm not being sponsored by Blue Twister. I just love their product. These valves, and they say they're 5/8, and I'm putting them in that 1/2-inch tubing, and loved them. Bought this from a local drip irrigation supplier, but I don't like their attitude, so I don't want to go back up there if I don't have to. You know, they forget, they forgot the definition of customer service, so I don't want to go back up there if I don't have to. Great product and telco, but again, you can see I was running out, so preemptively went online and bought. But see, now I bought 1/2-inch. I didn't realize these said 5/8, so I bought 1/2-inch, and these are working fairly well. So really no issue with these, and of course the blue and the blue work good together, and that is a guard drip. So really not much of an issue there, but I'm going ahead and preemptively putting hose clamps on everything just because of our South Georgia brutal heat. The next thing I couldn't get, which Lowe's don't stock, for some reason they don't stock these in very much quantity, so I was getting these from a local Ace Hardware store. I'm talking about the emitters here, and I've always liked those. And when I had at our original house that y'all never saw, I think I had, let's see, I'm going to say close to 75 or 100 young pecan trees, and always used those and never had an issue with them. So I've just stuck with them here in our container gardening. And love them, and they have always worked good on that black tubing right there. But again, because I couldn't get my local Ace Hardware to keep those in stock, again, went online and bought a set, and the 1/2-inch and the 1/2-inch, or the 1/4-inch and the 1/4-inch isn't meshing up. And I don't want to pull that apart because it is stuck, and I want to keep it stuck. But there is a definite difference in that barb right there. This barb right here is actually bigger. Once you get it in, it dang sure ain't coming out. But it is tough to get in there with dry hands, so once your hands get wet, it's virtually impossible. Even with dry hands, we got so frustrated with it that we quit using it. And yeah, you could have hot water soften this orbit tubing up, but I don't have hot water here at the garden, and I'm not keeping going back and forth to the house to get hot water. So again, these will just be bagged up and used as a very last resort. So I really guess my whole point in this video is to just tell you my problems, that hopefully somebody somewheres can either teach me a better way to build this mousetrap. And yes, I watch a lot of videos and watch a lot of people do drip, but you know, it's like every scenario is different. You know, what works for one doesn't work for another, you know, so I sort of get discombobulated or confused. Well, what do I try? So I'm just doing what I think's right for us. But my whole point in this, find you a vendor or a company and stick to that product. Again, I'm not sponsored by Orbit, but I have fell in love with their products. Now, what I haven't done is see if I could get Orbit online yet. I just work with what I get from my local Lowe's, and when I run out, and hope they restock for the next week. Well, I decided not to do the garden update. I'll save that for another video to keep from making this one too long. But I did look down after I turned the camera off that last clip. In the black tubing right here behind me, it is Orbit. So I forgot I did buy a roll from Lowe's. So again, really no difference from the blue stripe. Again, I hope this was some useful information. If it wasn't, and you're still here, I appreciate you watching and your support. So until we get back together, y'all take care and God bless.